the position, first time we'll have an independent competition for the post of Garda Commissioner. That will be advertised in July. It's obviously going to be internationally advertised. That will take some time. I'd like to see an element of crossover between the establishment of the new Garda Authority and that appointment.
So how would that work? Because if the authority is not going to be in place for Christmas...
the details have to be worked out, but certainly...
Well, how do you see it as possible?
Well, I think there are a variety of ways that we could consider that. It may be that members of the new authority would be appointed, and there would be the possibility of their involvement to some degree in the appointment of the new Garda Commissioner. But that remains to be worked out in detail.
Are you worried at the moment that the interim Garda Commissioner has no statutory rights? I mean, it's not a position, and we have no deputies, and there are holds of assistant commissioner and chief, and then again we have the associations here saying that there's serious problems at sergeants and inspectors level. You have problems right throughout the force.
It's a very challenging time in relation to policing and the justice system in this country. We've had some very disturbing reports. We've had the allegations by whistleblowers. We have had the Guerin report and the Cook report. And there are further reports that will emerge in the coming weeks and months from the Garda Inspectorate. There's a lot of work to be done, but I do believe that the goal, we can achieve the goal, which is to have the best police service possible, that will stand up to international scrutiny, but there is a lot of work to be done.
But there's immediate problems with no commissioner, no deputies, no assistants, no chiefs.
It is a challenging time. I believe that the Gardaí and Garda Síochána, the Commissioner and all involved in the force at present are working in challenging circumstances, but from my meetings with the Representative Association, with the Garda Commissioner, I believe they are getting on with their duties, getting on with the work, providing a quality policing service, but there are all of those challenges to be met at present, and I want to assure everyone that the Department of Justice and myself are working solidly on each of the issues which you have mentioned.
Sorry, we talked to you about Alan Shatter yesterday in the Dáil.
Sorry, miss, can you just keep this way? Sorry, just for the mics. Sorry.
Essentially, he completely whitewashed the Guerin report, which I thought the government had accepted, completely criticised it. What did you make of that?
Well, former Minister Alan Shatter gave his perspective yesterday on the report. The government's view of the report is that it was a serious and disturbing report. It was a preliminary report, but the government decided on the basis of the material that was in the report that a commission of investigation should be established. And the point about a commission of investigation is that everybody gets to have their say. Every side of the story is heard, and that's important, and that's what will happen with the commission. But what Mr Guerin decided was that in 11 out of the 12 cases, further inquiries were merited, and the government accepted that.
Bob Olson said during the week that there was a financial time bomb in relation to the Garda fleet, and the GRA and other associations are concerned about the dropping numbers. It's now below 13,000. What have you got to say about those two issues?
Did you say the Garda fleet or the Garda numbers?
The Garda fleet. The Garda fleet, there's a ticking time bomb in relation to the Garda fleet. That's what Bob Olson said.
Yes.
And the GRA and other associations are saying the Garda numbers is below 13,000 now, which was the threshold set by the former Commissioner.
There's 4 million still to be spent this year on the Garda fleet. That's underway. That will make a substantial improvement. But I intend to look at the overall numbers to see precisely what the needs are. But there has been an investment, quite a serious investment, last year, and as I say, further investment to come this year that I believe will make a difference. In relation to the numbers, they're just slightly below 13,000 at present, and that is I certainly want to keep them at that number. There are issues about reform as well, and the increasing civilianisation of the force that does need to be addressed.
Minister, you've expressed confidence in GSOC. Can you now express confidence in Brian Purcell?
Well, I have a review of the Department of Justice. I've made my comments clear in relation to that issue. I'm working every day with Brian Purcell as Secretary General of the Department, and I await the outcome of the review, which I think will be very interesting going forward in terms of the issues. I've said what I have to say on that issue for the present.
In relation to the Cook report, do you have any concerns about these strange suspected examples of physical surveillance that were apparently carried out, and maybe particularly this odd phone call that was followed up by a letter sent to the Department of Taoiseach, which was then sent on to Judge Cook?
the government has accepted the Cook report, and I accept the Cook report. I believe we should move on from those issues. Clearly, as the Justice says, when it comes to surveillance and counter-surveillance, one can never be 1000% certain. But on the basis of the issues he examined and the evidence he examined, he makes it very clear that he does not believe that any Gardaí were involved in surveillance, and I accept that.
But that was in relation to the technical anomalies. But in relation to the physical surveillance, he didn't really carry out any assessment of those examples. He just left them hanging.
Well, the government has accepted his report, and if you look at it and you read the report, I believe it's a comprehensive examination of all the issues, and the government has accepted it, and I believe we should move on from those issues. And I believe what the public want to see is a police force that is effective, that's protecting the citizenry, and that people have confidence in the oversight bodies, and that's the goal at present.
One more question. Just going back to Deputy Shatter's statements yesterday. I take it then you do not accept that his assertion that the Garda inquiry was a kangaroo court.
I absolutely accept Deputy Shatter's right to make a contribution in the Dáil and make whatever points he wishes to make in relation to the Garda report. I'm saying that the government commissioned that report and decided to set up a commission of investigation as a result of the report and the issues raised in it. And that gives everybody the opportunity to have their side of the story heard. And that's important, whether you're speaking about the Gardaí or former Minister Alan Chatter. The issues raised in the Garda report were serious and disturbing, and the government responded by way of a commission of investigation.
Okay, thank you very much, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
In relation to the case, can you tell me what the hold-up is with the government's response to the French authorities' request for assistance?
Well, obviously there are a range of legal issues which have emerged in relation to that case, and they need to be considered further before we continue the international work. But we are obviously committed to the international cooperation.
And do you have any timescale as to when you will get back to them?
Not at present, but those issues are under consideration, the legal and other issues.
Okay, thank you very much, folks. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.